What's up guys, Mecha Ish here, and from DC Multiverse The Dark Knight Returns 30th Anniversary Edition, I have Batman. Let's do it. Welcome back to another action figure video review, and I got for you guys today from the DC Comics Multiverse line, The Dark Knight Returns Batman. And this is a special 30th Anniversary Edition of The Dark Knight Returns. It's been 30 years since Frank Miller put out that amazing story, and with the recently released Batman v Superman, you got DC Comics Multiverse line putting out a ton of Batman v Superman stuff. It's great that all of this craze is finally paying homage to the roots of all of it, which is The Dark Knight Returns, and they're expanding that universe in action figure form, which I am so excited about. You know I've been waiting for that Superman. But if you remember a few years back with the Batman Unlimited line, they had a black and a gray Batman that looked more graphic novel accurate. This one looks more like how he appeared in the recently released DC animated The Dark Knight Returns Part 1. You know, especially with that yellow chest emblem. I don't know if he had that yellow chest emblem in the graphic novel, but either way, I'm so excited to have this figure. Now you got the standard window box packaging here, and you can see how well Batman is filling up that window because this is a bigger Batman. This isn't your typical 6-inch Mattel Batman. This is a reuse of the Masters of the Universe Classics mold in the form of Batman. So that means they're in the 7-inch scale. He's bigger and beefier than your typical 6-inch Batman. And this is very cool. And it's the same way that the black and the gray one came out a few years ago. And now we have it in the rest of the line, at least with Superman and definitely with this Batman. Okay, let's run through the rest of the box here, the rest of the packaging. We got DC Comics Multiverse. Again, great window view of the action figure itself. We have a look at the way Batman appears in the graphic novel. You see Batman The Dark Knight Returns. And I love this touch here. You got this engraved 30th Anniversary Edition. Nice touch of gold on the packaging, which makes it extra special. And we got here the same artwork on the side of Batman. And going towards the back, you see 30th Anniversary of Batman. And you have all the figures in this wave. Batman, Superman, and Son of Batman. You know I can't wait to review that Superman. And we got an image of the action figure Batman here, looking all heroic and stuff. Alright, let's take this Batman outside of this box and let's see what he's all about. Alright, I got Batman from The Dark Knight Returns in his blue and gray getup here for you guys. I want to give you guys a quick 360-degree view of this awesome looking action figure. And he's rocking the blue and the gray. And I love that classic look with the yellow chest emblem and of course his Batman logo, so that looks sick. You see he has his lone accessory here, which is that blue batarang, which is very flexible, so that's a nice touch. But from what he looks like from this distance, he looks great. It's a great sculpt, reusing the Masters of the Universe buck. So he is bigger, he is beefier, he is buff. And from what I can see, the paint applications appear to be on point. But let's get more up close and personal with this Batman. Alright, before I get into Batman, let's talk about his lone accessory here, which is this awesome batarang. And you can see it's styled based on the Dark Knight Returns Batman logo with all those tips at the bottom there. But this is nicely painted, all in that dark blue. Well, it's dark blue plastic actually. But you see it's very flexible. I'm not going to fold it completely in half. I don't want to mess it up. But it is nice and flexible, so you can maneuver it properly into his hand as you see fit. But it's just a nice little touch. All right, and I'm going to flip that to the side, and let's talk about Batman. Now, take a look at this head sculpt of Batman. That looks fantastic. You can see his scowl there. He got that mean look on his face. You can see the sculpted lines and his eyebrows intimidating the villains of Gotham City as usual. And I love his cheekbones, how well they're sculpted onto that big chin of his and his grin. So Batman, this is a grizzled veteran Batman here. This is a Batman from The Dark Knight Returns who's been around a little while. This is an older Batman, and you can kind of see that from here. He doesn't look like a newbie, that's for sure. But a great job on the head sculpt here. We have this beautifully sculpted cape. Let me go on to the back and take a look at that. This is a well done cape with all the proper folds, and I love the little creases there. So good job there. And then again, this body mold is, if you guys follow Masters of the Universe Classics, you know that what this body mold is all about. And this is just a reused male buck, which is a lot bigger at the shoulders. You can see chest, very muscular. This is in the 7-inch scale, so this figure tips at 7 inches in height. You can see the muscles in the side there and his nice abdominals. And I love the pouch that he has there, which is painted nicely as well. And then you got his trunks. This is old school Batman, where the underwear goes over the pants, not the new 52 style. You see these big legs, been doing a ton of squats. And then we have his nicely sculpted boots with the little tips up top, nice creases. So great job there. Even got his boots underneath. It's all sculpted out. So he is ready for some stomping and kicking and all that fun stuff Batman loves to do. And so the sculpt looks great. And I'm really digging the paint application. You can see here we have the gray outfit, and you can see a little bit of a black wash to give that shading. You can see a lot of the black wash there on his abdomen and on his shoulders to really make those muscles, these big biceps, his big chest, all those big beefy muscles really pop. So great job. Going back up to his mouth here, you see you have the nice flesh tone. It's a nice pinkish flesh tone. I have seen other Batman figures where maybe there's a little blue spillage on the flesh tone, so just keep an eye out for that. You can see here underneath his cowl, it's not as clean. Now let me get up a little closer for you guys there. You can see right underneath his nose, it's very sloppy going around his cheek. So that seems to be the only real paint flaw that I can see. But you know, when you're taking a look at these window box packaging Batmans, just make sure you're picking out the best one with the best paint apps, the best looking overall, before you take it out and be disappointed. But this was the best one I can find. But you know, it's not too bad, but you know, when you go up close, you can really see how sloppy that looks. Otherwise, everything else appears nice and clean. And I love the Bat logo. That is their classic Batman logo with that yellow oval and the beautifully painted and clean black bat symbol. So that is amazing. We got his pouches, which are nicely painted in that yellow, and everything else is just all in plastic. You got the blue plastic here, blue plastic, gray plastic, and then you have this beautifully sculpted, like I said before, blue cape, and everything just works. It even has a little bit of almost a little sheen to it, just the texturing of this plastic that they use. So great job with the paint and the sculpting on this figure. Let's run down the articulation of this Batman action figure. Again, if you're familiar with the Masters Classics line, it's the same kind of articulation. But for those of you strictly DC fans there, we got 360-degree head rotation. It goes up about that far, and he's able to look down a good bit. So that's great. And then we have a rotation here at the shoulder. You might have to extend it. You see there's also a hinge at the armpit there. So you might have to extend, because the cape is in the way, to get the full 360 range, but his hinge allows for great lateral movement about that far up. And then we have a nice bicep swivel. Now, touching back on the paint application portion, you can see here, it looks like tan lines, right? You can see the wash, the dark gray up there. They did a wash on it, but it looks like maybe his triceps or what were in this position, where this inner portion, when you rotate the bicep, you can see how white it is there. Like it didn't get that extra bit of wash, right? And it's the same on this arm. It's even more prominent on his right shoulder, but I'm guessing either the bicep, most likely the tricep, was about in this position when they added all that extra paint detail. But then when you rotate it to a normal position, it looks kind of funny. So it looked like tan lines. But just wanted to point that out. But it's not a big deal. Just, you know, I noticed it and I want to show you guys. All right. But, you know, you have the bicep swivel. And then we go to a single jointed elbow. And let's see. We have just a rotation. I was trying to see if there was a forearm rotation. But there's a rotation at the wrist. No hinge at the wrist. Okay. So we got a nice ab crunch here. It goes back just a little bit. But it goes forward a bunch. So that looks great. And if you remember from the Frank Miller graphic novel, that older Batman is always seemingly hunched over and being so much bigger and, you know, just a buffer dude. He looks way more intimidating, all hunched up, and you can see the big upper torso and these big arms. So that is a very cool look, and I most likely will be posing my Batman just like this. I think I just created a new superhero, Batman. Brother of Batman. Anyway, we got a waist swivel here, which is great. And let's see, we got the legs. Now this plastic here, you can see the blue trunks of his is kind of hindering the range of motion there. You can see right there, it's kind of blocking the full range, but you can get a decent kick out of it. and he can go to the side because this is as like the shoulders on a ball hinge. So it goes up nicely to the side. So let's get a nice high kick there from Batman. Ouch. All right, and then of course we have a rotation up there on that lower hip joint. So that is great. You get 360 movement there, but just, you know, just remember you got this this trunk there blocking some of the range of motion. We got single jointed knee articulation. We do have a cut at the boot, so you get nice rotation there at the boot. And we just have a hinge at the ankle. So you get some good flexion going on there. But no ankle rocker, unfortunately. But he can stand up pretty well. It just takes a little bit more time to get him in that position you want. Alright, so I had to bust out this alternate version of Batman from my collection from the Batman Unlimited wave a few years back. Just to give you guys a quick comparison, you can see obvious paint application differences in both Batmen. You have the one on the left, the black and the gray, with the updated Batman logo. Now that Batman symbol and the black and the gray is more reminiscent, at least the way I remember him, from the Frank Miller graphic novel. Again, I haven't read that in a little while, but I do remember that updated logo. I do remember the black and the gray versus the one on the right, which is your more traditional classic look for Batman with the blue and the gray and the yellow symbol. So that is very cool and a nice touch, you know, to have a different version of Batman in this scale, which is always exciting, right? To have more Batman. And you can see the differences in the batarangs. Here on the left, it's just a black plastic, and obviously the one on the right is a blue. The pouches are also painted a little bit differently. We have here an RG brown, and we have the bright yellow on the right. Now, besides the paint application differences, we also have differences in the head sculpts. This black and gray one, you can see, has a darker flesh tone over that grin of his. So the head sculpt is different with that grin, and I actually like this flesh tone paint a lot more than the one on the right, where this one is a little more pale, but he is, you know, with that intimidating scowl that only Batman can have. So that is pretty cool. Happy to have both of them. Hopefully you guys can still snatch up that black and gray one. So excited to have this figure in my collection. I mean, anything that expands the universe of the Frank Miller graphic novel is always welcome by me. And I love that they're using the 7-inch scale Masters of the Universe body molds that, you know, I'm a huge fan of the Motu classics, and I love that they're putting in some Batman, so you can actually mix and match them and maybe cross universes, which would be pretty cool, even though I think He-Man's a part of DC now. But anyway, happy to have this Batman figure in my collection. Again, happy to expanding this universe, and I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Make sure you leave a thumbs up if you did. Check my channel for past reviews I've done, and I got a lot more cool action figure video reviews coming your way, and a lot of other fun things, so make sure you stay tuned so you don't miss out. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. You know what to do. Peace.